Hello. Here is a journal uh, prepared by Sapphire Welka. She had given it to me one day after I had spent some time with her, met with her, and spent some time with her. And just as I was about to leave, uh, she had stated to me that she has something for me, and she grabbed from her backpack, pulled something out, and grabbed this and handed it to me. And then I, shortly afterwards, left. Later read it, and it's been a while since I was given this, but I wanted to read it, so I'm going to. This is the first page. July 6, 2014. My mom heard some bad things that Jason did. All this drama started with my mom accusing Jason of intentionally compromising my computer to his face. He wrote an extreme amount of complaints on my Facebook timeline about my mom's treatment of him, consisting of the aforementioned accusation, the threat my mom made that she will call the cops if Jason kept pushing me how he had the night of the accusation, and my mom saying that a gift Jason had gotten from my mom and Steve wasn't wireless like she wanted when it is wireless. It is about a couple months after my mom accused Jason of intentionally compromising my computer. She still thinks he intentionally compromised my computer, but I do not think he did. She also thinks that he told me to download Tight VNC so he could spy on me. I asked him about that, and he reminded me that he told me to put it on there so he could help me with something. When he told me that, I did remember him telling me to put something on my computer so he could help me with something, but neither of us remembered what it was that he wanted to help me with Type VNC. My mom said that Jason said that if she can't fix my computer, she can give it to him. She says he thinks she's so stupid because of him saying she can give it to him if she can't fix it, and because he told me to download a lot of stuff. When I mentioned to Jason that stuff, my mom said, he said that by give the laptop to him, he meant sell. I told my mom this, and she said that what he did to my laptop is a small part of her problem with him, and the big problem is his personality and his attitude. Right after my mom accused him of intentionally compromising my laptop, my mom asked Jason if he's so smart, why doesn't he have a job with computers, and said that some people actually need SSI. Jason had been on SSI for a year because of his sensations. He feels like microbes are nibbling on him and sometimes feels like they're injecting into him. They make it hard for him to get a good sleep because they wake him up. When Jason did work involving Bitcoin, he was not able to accomplish much because his sensations distracted him. Jason got up after my mom and Jason were arguing for a while and said he doesn't have to deal with this. Then he got up and went to leave the house. I got up after a few seconds, went towards him, and pulled him towards me. My mom said she's reporting fraud to the SSA. After I pulled Jason, he grabbed my wrist and pushed me. I pushed back a little. When he pushed me closer to where my mom was and she saw him pushing me, my mom told Jason that if he touches me like that again, she will call the police. Then Jason went upstairs to get his bag. Then he stopped at the bathroom. I blocked the doorway and he asked me to let him go. I asked, once a month? And unblocked the doorway. He asked, what? Then I asked the question more clearly. Can we at least see each other once a month? He asked me to talk to him outside. I was going to do that, but my mom shut the door on me after Jason got out, but before I could get out. My mom said that Jason's a leech and that he will wait until he is starving to death to get a job. My mom told me that if I ever lived with Jason, I would be paying all the rent. Jason paid his share of the rent before his ex-roommates Raymond and Eric broke the lease. Eric even owes him around $800 from the rent he didn't pay when he lived there. Jason and Raymond had a disagreement over whether Jason owes Raymond rent money or Raymond owes Jason rent money. Eric just left a few months before the lease ended, and Raymond left the day after that, slamming things around and cussing Jason out. Jason told me he is appreciative that most of the time Raymond lived there, Raymond had treated him fairly. It is concerning that a second person that I know of tells Jason he doesn't owe him what Jason claims he owes him, but it is not that bad. Only $29. But what Colleen claims that Jason is lying about her owing him is much worse. Jason claims that a girl he had a crush on, Colleen, has many animes and clothes that she took from Jason. Jason told Colleen that he wants his things back, but Colleen told him she has never had anything that had ever belonged to him. Jason said that friends of his called Colleen a bitch, and he was quick to defend her, but now he's not so sure. It is also concerning that Jason's parents think that Jason is less trustworthy than his half-brother, but Jason thinks his half-brother is untrustworthy. It is also concerning that Colleen said that Jason slanders and harasses her because she doesn't return sexual feelings for Jason. On a blog Jason made saying that Colleen is deceptive and doesn't value him at all, Colleen said in a reply that she used to care for him before he kept harassing her. I'm not sure exactly what happened between them, and I'd like to know. He blew up both Colleen's phone and her mom's phone. I know that. I know Jason was too obsessed with Colleen for her not returning the feelings. I am not allowed to talk to Jason anymore. He has been blowing up my mom's phone very often since April, even though she told him to stop texting her. Same with Raymond and Eric, but for different reasons. It also bothers me that my mom said that Jason blamed Raymond and Eric for stealing his monitor publicly, even though he did not know it was them. She said that he fabricated that his monitor got stolen, but a couple days later when I asked if he really fabricated that his monitor was stolen, she said she didn't know, but she said Raymond has a good job and wouldn't risk getting arrested for one monitor. After my mom stopped letting me contact Jason, I saw that Jason blogged that deception hadn't occurred with me, whereas it had with Colleen. I also read a blog he wrote that said that he will no longer be sad because of the things I wrote to him, that he says are false accusations. But recently, he deleted those blogs and blogged this. Dear Sapphire Welka, aka Sapphire Welka aka Huina, you are a beautiful human existence. A picture of him, me, my mom, and Steve at Church Brewworks. Thank you dearestly and kindly for sharing many beautiful moments with me. Be well. The word well is a link to pictures of whales. So fucking cute. Also so fucking smart. Love, Jason. His Facebook profile picture is also of the picture I drew of his dream where he was getting attacked by a toy sword. July 12th, 2014. I went on the internet this morning, looked at the conversation I had this past winter with Catherine and Jason, and saw something super cute. I saw that Jason had changed his profile picture of my drawing of his dream where he was getting attacked by a toy sword so that the toy sword and I were no longer in it, but a non-drawing, his bike, was being ridden by my drawing of him. And it looks so funny because both of his feet are on the pedals, but his eyes are closed and his butt is on the very back of the bicycle seat and his eyes are closed. His eyelashes very thick, and the best part is that he's upright and has his arms extended and his arms are above the bike handles. It's cute. I read the book, Fact Bullshit, a few days ago that cockroaches regenerate limbs. That makes me think of how Jason told me that he once tore off all a cockroach's legs. I wonder if he knew that they regenerate legs. When I told Jason that it was mean to do that, he asked me if it is mean to pick flowers. When I think about it, it is mean to pick flowers. In school, teachers tell us that plants are alive. That means that they probably feel things. When people pick flowers, they die and wither away. Although I remember Jason telling me that lobsters don't feel pain when people boil them alive because they have no central nervous system. The song Clams Have Feelings Too, actually they don't, reminds me of that conversation I had with Jason too. It is by NoFX. I wonder if I showed that song to Jason. I hope I did. I wanted to. I am not allowed to contact him though. My mom said if he contacts me, he will go to jail, and if I contact him, I will go to jail because of the PFA she has against him seeing me. I don't know what PFA stands for, but I know it's where one person has to stay a certain distance from someone. I remember Ducky telling me that trees feel pain. One day when I was younger, before I met Ducky, my first thought of the morning was, what would it feel like to be a plant? When Jason put all that stuff on my Facebook timeline about the evolution of my mom's treatment of him, some people responded by telling my mom to get me away from that creep. Some people responded by asking if my mom would like them to kick that guy's ass. It is strange that no one gives a shit that my mom accused him of intentionally compromising my computer. Although I appreciate that my biological dad said he thought maybe my mom was paranoid because of those accusations. Aunt Lorraine said that if he really loved me, he wouldn't be posting ugly stuff about my family on the internet. He didn't post nearly as much good stuff about my mom as he did bad stuff. But I'm glad he at least wrote that my mom has many good qualities, but a few bad qualities overshadow the good ones. My aunt has said before that most people point out bad things more than they do good ones. Perhaps it is because bad things bother people more than good things do, and that is why bad things are more notable. After my mom saw the hundreds of things Jason posted to my timeline, including the comments he made on his own posts, my mom stopped allowing me to contact him, and she also read many of our messages to each other. Jason sent me an email to me saying, "Will you at least let me know that you never want to see me again?" after I stopped contacting him per my mom's orders and my aunt's. That really hurts because I want to see him again, but I don't want either of us to go to jail. I can't wait to get my own apartment, if that ever happens. Chandrika says that she doesn't think that my mom is ever right about anything she says about anyone. If it's true that he blamed Raymond for stealing his monitor, then I don't want to see him anymore. But from what I read of what he wrote, I don't fucking know. My mom was nice to Jason for a year and a half, then suddenly became a bitch to him. I hope my mom gets falsely accused of a bunch of shit she didn't do. Chandrika told me that when she was younger, my mom accused her of looking up porn on my computer when she was looking up t-shirts or something. She said my mom always accuses people of doing bad things with no evidence whatsoever. I agree. And she brought up the time that she accused Bala of physically abusing our cats. Before my mom saw all the stuff Jason posted on my timeline, a lot of people told my mom to tell me to block Jason from my Facebook. My mom told me to maybe just block him from posting on my wall at first, but after she saw all the stuff he posted to my timeline, she told me to block him from seeing my timeline, changed my phone number, and told me to never contact him again. Jason does have a bad habit of publicizing personal problems. I also believe that Jason says bad things without any evidence sometimes. Like, I think he said that GMOs are less healthy than alcohol. I don't know about that. I doubt it, highly. If it was, then a lot of people would probably have noticed severe organ damage in the mid-1990s when they were perfectly healthy before that time that GMOs were widely distributed. In response to Jason's behavior, my stepdad said, in some cultures, they would have shot him, referencing how Jason often says, in some cultures. My mom said that there's a difference between haha crazy and bad crazy, and that Jason is bad crazy. It was quite discomforting when Jason said he wanted to go to Bloom's, and I asked him what would be there, and he said he didn't know, different stuff, when really he knew that it would be all different kinds of cigars, or it might have been my mom when asked what it is at Bloom's. July 13th, 2014. I really do not believe that Jason intentionally compromised my laptop. I think he may have unintentionally compromised it, but I certainly do not think that he is malicious enough to intentionally compromise it. Once when Jason and I were arguing about something, he told me that he is sorry for burdening me with all the gifts. I did not understand what he meant by this at the time, but a while later, when I thought he was telling me he no longer wishes to affiliate with me, I understood why he apologized for burdening me with gifts. I am very sad that I am now no longer allowed to see him, and when I see the gifts he got me, it reminds me of the fact that I am no longer allowed to see him. But I will try to enjoy the gifts instead of letting them depress me. I hope Jason is okay. Last summer, my mom said that I have become less happy after hanging out with Jason so much. Perhaps I was. I don't know if he was the cause of it. I hadn't noticed myself becoming less happy. When my mom told Jason that he is making my health and mood deteriorate, he blocked me on Facebook and unfriended everyone in Pittsburgh, although forgetting Ducky and Megan. I got a hold of him on HexChat and told him I didn't want to stop affiliating with him though, so he continued affiliating. My mom also told Jason that my grades and hygiene were getting worse because of him. That is not even completely true. While my grades did get worse, it is partially because my classes were way harder this past semester than previous semester's classes were. and it was my choice to pay attention to Jason and to send so many messages and read his hundreds of messages that he would often send in one day. Jason did not hold me down and threatened to never let me go unless I read his messages. I did not pay as much attention to my classes as I should have, though, and I'm pretty sure that my physical health did not get any worse since affiliating with Jason. Jason and I are both responsible for our own behaviors. Jason should not be blamed for my bad grades because he did not ignore my frequent messages to him and did not tell me to get off Facebook when I had been on for many hours with him. And Jason did help me with Java, but I don't know if I would have done better learning from the book instead of from him. I did read the book, but maybe not as much as I should have. And Jason did help me with some of the logic. I'm thinking that maybe if I told my mom in April 2013 about Jason sending me about 200 messages before I went on Facebook per day, my mom may have told me to stop contacting him then too. My mom said with how many messages he sends to me, her, Steve, Raymond, Eric, Colleen, Colleen's mom, etc., he is just trying to get at people. I think it's wrong that Raymond and Eric just left Jason with those rental fees for the house that are too expensive for him to pay by himself. My mom agrees with Raymond that the lease is invalid. She said they left because they cannot stand him. I can see why Raymond can't, since he thinks Jason owes him money when Jason thinks the opposite. It seemed like Eric didn't mind Jason too much before he broke the lease early, though. I know Jason has some social problems, though. I know this because he told me that he looked through papers of a club to find out a girl's email address, then emailed her telling her she has an amazingly beautiful smile, when he never even spoke to her before then. He told me that the girl told the advisor of the club that Jason makes her feel uncomfortable. Jason said it would have been better for the girl to tell Jason that he makes her uncomfortable. I told Jason that of course she feels uncomfortable with him doing that and that it would have been a lot less creepy if he would have told her in person or asked her for her email address first. He said he told her she has an amazingly beautiful smile in that manner because he feels more comfortable communicating in writing than in person. I remember when I told him to accept John McClure's friend request. John sent him some messages and Jason said he does not appreciate the culture of John McClure that he is dealing with. After meeting him in person, Jason liked John, though. I only told him to accept it because I agreed with John that he should put a condescending Wonka on his wall saying, "You like Linux, huh?" I didn't know John was going to message him too. Jason said he didn't like that John told him to trust him. Jason is quite strange with trust. Once I told him that Veronica told me that Reina means queen in Spanish, and that people call girls that as a compliment in some Spanish-speaking countries. Then he asked me if I believed that just because someone told me that. I told him yes, and I might have gave the credibility to her that she has family in Bolivia, who she goes to see every year. Then he asked me if he told me that the word for water in Farsi is ab. Would I believe him? His dad is from Iran and knows Farsi. I said yes. I think he should have known that. I don't know why he would think I shouldn't believe him or Veronica about those kinds of things. I just looked up what water is in Farsi, and a YouTube video says in English it is spelled ab. In Farsi, you write from right to left, and Farsi letter is A, and another Farsi letter is B. Water in Farsi is Farsi word. In Farsi, Baba means father, which is written in Farsi like, because when the word doesn't start with an A, the A is written without the tilde. Horizontal letters are lovely, so Baba is actually written like, because the B goes closer to the A. Vertical letters are not lovely, so he does not try to get closer to other letters. So do not try to get closer to other letters. Horizontal letters get closer to the letter after it, while vertical letters don't. After my mom told me not to contact Jason anymore and told Jason that if he comes onto our property again, she will call the cops, Jason went and knocked on my aunt's door in Pittsburgh. I don't know why, because I think he knew I was in Cabot that weekend at their farm. He also stood in the graveyard by our house. I think that's because he knows I don't want to never see him again like my family is so cruelly forcing upon me, but maybe it is best for him that we are no longer affiliating. Hopefully, now that I am out of his life, he is allowing less distraction time from scanning his medical documents. Perhaps it was inconsiderate of me to reject his suggestion for us to cease to affiliate, and selfish. I have discovered Kachadur Tankian, who I think is Serge Tankian's dad, music recently. Even though it isn't Armenian and I don't understand any of it, I quite enjoy how it sounds. I enjoy the song Bari Arakio, which Serge and Kachatur sing together. A comment on the Hrant Dink soundtrack says, I see all Tankians are gods of music. Joe. I agree with that comment. I also like the comment that says, where did he hide all this time? July 14, 2014. Last night I watched videos of me and Jason that are on my 3DS. In one of them, he was singing Sweet Dreams with me. That is one of the only songs he would sing around other humans. It must be one of his favorite songs. He was singing Sweet Dreams with me when we were waiting for Steve when we were done shopping at Lowe's and Bed & Bath & Beyond. About half a year later, I told him to sing when I held his nose. He wouldn't do it, and I got upset about it. I sang while holding my own nose around him, and I sang when he tickled me before. He said he wouldn't sing while I held his nose because he isn't as outgoing as me and he isn't prepared to sing. To make me feel better, he put on a lyric video to You Are My Sunshine and sang it while the singer on the video was singing it, and the lyrics were displayed. When Marilyn Manson's version of Sweet Dreams was playing at Raymond's birthday party when Jason, Raymond, Eric, Maddie, and I were playing original legendary Zombie Apocalypse Munchkin, Jason sang along to it, with all of us in the room. When Jason put on the lyrics video to You Are My Sunshine, I heard more of that song than I had ever heard before. My Aunt Lorraine used to sing part of that song to me when I was little. I got upset when Jason wouldn't sing while I held his nose because it seems to portray that he is uncomfortable around me when we had hung out every week for about a year. I feel comfortable to sing around anyone who sings around me. In one of the videos outside of Lowe's and Bed Bath & Beyond, when I was with Jason, I was shyly, gently singing No Breaks by The Offspring, and I sound so stupid singing it so gently. I have a gentle voice, but I could have tried to sing less gently to sound less stupid because it isn't a gentle song. I had a dream this morning where I was with Jason. First, we were at a McDonald's in a Walmart, and a person pretending to be Albert Einstein was serving the food. Then we were at his house and I told him about why I am no longer allowed to hang out with him. Then Raymond was there and they were yelling at each other, but I didn't remember what they were yelling at each other about. There was a door leading to the roof, which isn't in his house in real life. I forget what Jason said, but he said something about fingers and race. Then Raymond laughed and wiggled his fingers through the door of the roof and said, different race. And that was the end of the dream. Even though I don't remember what Jason said before Raymond said different race, I remember it seemed like Raymond misunderstood what Jason meant. I don't remember what meaning of race Jason seemed to portray in a sentence. From what I remember, it seems like I thought Jason meant speed race, but Raymond thought he meant ethnicity race. A few days ago, I looked up Albert Einstein quotes. One of them says, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. I agree with that quote. There are some quotes that I didn't know were from Albert Einstein, but that I saw before. July 15, 2014. Last night I found out that Jason made another Facebook for himself. It is really sad because his profile picture for this profile is the drawing I made of his dream where he was being attacked by a toy sword. But the toy sword was edited out of the drawing, so it just looks like he's chasing after me about to cry, while I run away scared. He posted his Dear Sapphire Welka blog to this profile and wrote, I miss you, Sapphire Welka, especially when it seemed that you were permitted to have a voice and the freedom to speak freely void of tyrannical, oppressive authority. Nonetheless, despite your experience to remain silent during these sensitive times, thank you dearestly and kindly for sharing many beautiful moments with me, when you may have felt empowered with more strength and freedom to express yourself. I very much respectfully appreciate those moments. He posted this on June 30th, 2014. I can understand why my mom won't even let him contact me or me contact him, though, after what Colleen and Raymond said about him. I think it is unfair, but perhaps it is unfair that I never asked Colleen her perspective on what went on between her and Jason. Perhaps her comments on Jason's blogs and the text from her to him that I read gave her full perspective, but I don't know. And if Jason's mom, Jason's dad, Colleen, Raymond, my mom, my aunts, my cousins, etc. don't trust Jason, and Jason himself says he thinks he is a bad person, perhaps he is a bad person. But he doesn't seem like a bad person to me. When he said that he wanted to invite Colleen, the girl he had feelings for at the time, to his 31st birthday dinner, he said he wanted to invite other people too because he knows she doesn't return the feelings and wants to consider how she feels. I couldn't come on that day because I told my Aunt Lorraine I would go to her card party. Colleen ended up not going, but her and her mom still got him a present. At the last minute, he asked Ashley to go and she went. I really would like to be at least friends with Jason. Someday I want to have a conversation with him, Colleen, Raymond, his parents, and all my authority figures, and his brother. I don't think Jason or Raymond are bad people, they just have communication problems. I appreciate many actions Jason has performed, like when he spontaneously hid from me that one time. There are also many things he did that I didn't appreciate, like when he wouldn't answer me if he hid in the same place the first time as the second time when I didn't find him the first time. I also don't like that he wouldn't dance with me around people he knows. He would kiss me around people he knows, though. Perhaps my trust in him is too faith-based, something Jason does not advocate at all, believing something without evidence. One thing I think is strange is that Jason said that Colleen said she feels uncomfortable when he talks about other girls around her. If she doesn't have feelings for him, why would that make her feel uncomfortable? Maybe he was talking too sexually about them. I don't know. I wasn't there. I have never even met Colleen. In my mind, Jason has never done anything super bad to me without apologizing afterwards. So I think that thinking he has done really bad things to others on purposely is also faith-based more so than believing he didn't intentionally do super bad things to people. But blowing up others' phones when they don't want you texting them isn't cool. I appreciate that Jason shared so many interesting articles and videos with me. I like the video that showed how different sound frequencies have different shapes. I like learning about chemistry, but it is kind of hard to learn. July 16th, 2014. Last night I dreamed that I was riding the subway with Raymond and I was planning on meeting Jason. For some reason, meeting Jason didn't work out, but I saw his mom. I talked to her for a while, but I don't remember what was said. In the evening, I went back to my house, and when I passed Jason's house, I crab walked. When I got into my yard, I took off my clothes. I really don't know why. There was another person's house next to ours, not separated by a fence, which isn't there in real life, and I put my clothes on the porch of that house. My mom was coming to our house. I told her that I took off my clothes, and she told me to put them back on. I went onto the neighbor's porch. I didn't put my bra and underpants back on, but I put my shirt and pants back on. Then I found my Portal 2 shirt on their porch, but I didn't remember putting it there. I didn't recognize this in my dream, but the cube on the shirt looks different than it does in real life. In the dream, the cube just had a purple circle in it. In real life, the cube is a companion cube, which has a heart on it, with wings. One reason I am sad that I am no longer allowed to contact Jason is I cannot finish Portal 2 that I got very far on his computer, which he helped me with. Now if I want to finish it, I will probably have to buy the game or get someone else to buy it for me and start all over again, or I can wait until I am stable enough to own my own apartment if that ever happens, contact him and ask to finish it. This past couple weeks I have had 5 dreams that I remember and only one did not have Jason in it. 2 nights ago, I dreamed I was in some big building and there was some object that JJ was trying to kill me with. Or maybe he just threatened to kill me with it. Or maybe because of his violent behavior, I just thought it was likely he would try to kill me with it. Either way, I carried it to another room, put it on a footrest, and hoped JJ wouldn't find it. Last week I had a dream that I went to my room, found Jason in my closet, and cuddled with him. The night before that, I dreamed that my mom drove me home. I saw Jason standing in the graveyard by our house in broad daylight and hoped my mom wouldn't see him, fearing she would bear spray him and call the cops on him. A few months ago, when I asked Jason why he wouldn't answer me if he hid in the same place the second time he hid as the first, he said because of principle. I didn't understand that answer and it pissed me off, but I think I kind of understand now. It is not necessary for me to know everything, and sometimes I just have to accept that there is no hope to know or understand certain things, and I shouldn't be sad about it, and I should simply accept my helplessness if I can't find a way to get answers that works and doesn't get me or others into trouble. I just read a fact in Fact Bullshit. It says, a program was launched in Belgium in 2001 to replace sugary drinks and soda in school lunchrooms with a healthier option, beer. Students had the option between lager and bitter, and 80% of the children in the pilot program said they enjoyed having beer with lunch. On the next page, it says that paragraph is a fact and adds, Ronnie Langeneken, the chairman of De Limburgse Biervinden, the beer club behind the plan, was quoted as saying, beer is for the whole family. The program was drawn out for students ages 3 to 15. A special beer was used for the pilot programs called Tafel beer, which contained no more than 2.5% alcohol. That's very interesting and very different than here in the United States, where it is illegal for anyone under the age of 21 to have any alcohol in their blood, except maybe if they take the medicine NyQuil, but very few children actually follow this rule. That fact reminds me of when I asked Jason why he won't eat GMOs or high fructose corn syrup, etc., but he will drink alcohol. He said it is because alcohol is healthier than those edibles. I said that I don't believe him because I feel noticeably different after drinking alcohol, happier and off balance, but I don't notice any differences after drinking high fructose corn syrup. But then I admitted that I might be wrong because I was still a baby when GMOs were put out in most chain grocery stores. The videos he showed me called Genetic Roulette, Gamble of Our Lives says that GMOs cause autism. I wonder if I would have never been so highly on the autism spectrum as a young child if I had never eaten a GMO, and more people got diagnosed with autism now than in the past. There is probably a connection. I would like to research this more. It is interesting that my mom said that I mostly grew out of it between the ages of 12 and 15. I was diagnosed with autism when I was 4. Even though Jason has never officially been diagnosed with autism, I think he is on the spectrum. Plus, when his parents took him to get diagnosed with something, he lied on a lot of questions. Jason said that it is good that my mom took me to get diagnosed with a disorder when I was young. I think Jason said he was a teenager in high school when his parents took him to do that. He was diagnosed with something, but it doesn't really count since he lied on so many questions. The first time I drank any alcohol was just some tiny drips of a cinnamon-flavored beer when I was 3. The first time after that I think I was 10, and I drank a couple of sips of wine at my aunt's Christmas or Easter party, and I had some NyQuil. I got tipsy for the first time when I was 18 and had been 4 times after that. Only 3 of the times I was tipsy I got a hangover. The other 2 times I didn't drink enough alcohol content to get a hangover, only enough to get tipsy. I just watched a wonderful episode of Ninja Warrior. A girl who is slightly smaller than me was the first woman to ever make it through the course that she got through. It was amazing and made me very happy. July 17, 2014. Last night I dreamed that I was in a house with Jason and Raymond that belonged to both of them. It was the same color as the house Jason lived in the last time I saw him. The lease for them ended 3 days ago, so I don't know if Jason moved or not. Other than the color, the house was very different. From the part of the house I was at in the dream, it seemed like it just consisted of one large empty room with wooden floor and walls and a white wall and a door separating that room from a room with white walls and a white tiled floor where a couple of women stayed and got food and drinks for Jason and Raymond from whenever it was asked of them. I don't think this house was an apartment like Jason's real house is. It had a door that led to long concrete stairs leading to a sidewalk. They lived right next to a bus stop, just like they did in real life, except the bus was at the end of a hill where it stopped. The house also had wooden beams holding it up, if I remember correctly. I shall draw this house. Jason and Raymond were getting along well in this dream. Jason and I went to catch a bus. I think we were going to a high school dance together, lol, XD. Then I remembered I forgot the keys to my house as we were getting on the bus. I decided to get off the bus and get keys to my house. As I was getting off the bus, Jason asked if he could borrow my phone in case he needs to call someone. I took my phone out of my pocket and passed it to him. The phone in my pocket was my old flip phone that no longer has service in real life. I went to my house and took the key out of the socket. The end of the key was a rubber bunny head. My parents were home. I remembered I wasn't allowed to see Jason anymore and hesitated to leave for the dance. My mom asked where I was going. I told her I need to see Jason one more time to get my phone from him. My mom drove me to a laundromat and Jason was there. Jason put a black clothing article around my waist and folded it over. I'm not sure what it was. It felt like the bottom of a rug. I bobbed up and down, pretending to be in a pool. Then he unfolded it and it curved at the top and at the bottom. When it was unfolded, I had a hard time breathing. I took it off. Then Jason and I went to a hall where high school kids were waiting for the dance to be set up in another building. I danced with one girl in the hall, even though no music was playing. I seemingly knew this girl in my dream, but I don't know her in real life. After a while, everyone left for the dance, and I decided to, too. I woke up before I got to the dance, though. July 18th, 2014. Last night, I had another dream that did not have Jason in it. I dreamed that I was on a plane and was about to go skydiving. I ended up not doing it, though. I was afraid, but I don't think that was the reason I didn't do it. I forget why I didn't do it. I still feel really sad that I am not even allowed to contact Jason, but I feel ecstatic when I listen to Body Arakio. If I listened to that song while drunk, I would probably die of happiness. I don't understand why alcohol is considered to be a depressant when it seems to make people happier. Is the song Body Arakio also a depressant? When my mom first banned me from contacting Jason and told me some shit she heard from Raymond and from the cops, I was thinking of how he told me at least 3 people think the exact opposite, or at least they say the opposite of what he says about certain experiences he's had with them. This made me think of how I really don't know who's right, and I thought, in other words, I don't know who to trust. And that led me to get From the Inside by Linkin Park stuck in my head because the first words to that song are, I don't know who to trust, no surprise. Those lyrics pretty much describe my life. A lot of that song describes how I feel about my situation with Jason and my family. The next lyrics describes how I feel too. Everyone feels so far away from me. Heavy thoughts sift through dust and the lies. Trying not to break, but I'm so tired of this deceit. And also, tension is building inside, steadily, heavy thoughts forcing their way out of me. Described how I felt too. When I decided to listen to the Meteora CD, I felt happier from listening to it. It's nice that music can make me feel happy even when I am sad. Especially fucking Body Arakio. That song, that's my ecstasy. Hit the Floor actually made me feel happier than From the Inside did when I listened to Meteora based on my feelings on this situation. Some of the lyrics remind me of experiences I've had with Jason. The lyrics, so many people like me put so much trust in all your lies, so concerned of what you think to just say what we feel inside. That reminds me of the possibility that he could have lied to me about experiences he's had with his half-brother, Raymond, and Colleen. The second sentence reminds me of how he didn't tell me or my parents that Bloom's is a cigar shop before he took me there. It is quite concerning that Jason said that Raymond threw a chair and broke it, and Raymond said he didn't throw it. I don't remember exactly what the conflict was about, but that they had. It was something about dishes. Then that Raymond said to him, then Jason wrote about how he felt about it privately, and Raymond saw it and threatened to break Jason's computer. Raymond then would not talk to Jason for another week or so. I don't remember if Steve had to intervene, like in the boiling water incident. If I had been with Jason when he had these kinds of conflicts, I would know how to defend him better, or I could try to correct him if I thought he did something wrong or remembered incorrectly. Once I had to correct Jason severely about a conflict we had. I think I said that I think him walking away from me, Chandrika, and Bala on Carson Street when me and Chandrika kept saying different God bless him was an overreaction. Kept saying different gods bless him was an overreaction. Then he said that Chandrika was not involved. I corrected him, reminding him that Chandrika was the first one to say bless you. Then he said no thank you. Then I think she said Buddha bless you. Then I said Krishna bless you. Chandrika said Satan bless you. Then I did the Trinity symbol on him and said, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Then he walked away from us. He said he was upset, so he wasn't paying attention to detail so well. I told him we were seeing if one God blessing him would be less offensive than another one blessing him. When I said that, he said that is cool. I was glad when I was at his 32nd birthday dinner and he let me know I was being offensive. Megan said that she is having a hard time with Math 80. Then I said, wow, I feel smart now. Then Jason told me that it was rude for me to say that because it is degrading her intelligence or something, but I'm glad he let me know it was potentially offensive for me to say that, even though I don't remember exactly what he said. July 19th, 2014. I had another dream with Jason in it last night. I was at his house. Of course, his house was different than it is in real life. When I entered into the first door, there were 2 steps, and up the steps and to the left there was the door to Jason's apartment. There was more of a downstairs to this apartment than there is to his apartment in real life. There was a desk with a one-monitored computer on it. When I entered the apartment, I saw my Uncle X sitting on the stairs. He told me to come inside, and I did. Then he sat down in front of the computer and grabbed one of Jason's huge bowls, which was filled with a lot of chocolate ice cream. After a short while, X got off the computer, gave me the huge bowl of ice cream, and told me that I could get on the computer and he had to go. I ate some of the ice cream and checked my email. I got an email from X saying that he's sorry he had to leave and he'll be back, and that he was looking at pictures of nail polish colors. He sent me a link of nail polish colors at Google Images. One of the images for that was so beautiful. It was of nails painted light blue with a few squiggly designs on the nails painted a silvery rainbow. They were beautiful. I went to see if I could find X to show him. Then I got out the door and saw Jason sitting on the stairs. I said his name, then he whispered not to talk to him and to come inside. I went into his apartment and I saw a few other people downstairs. There was a man who I thought was X at first glance. For some reason he did not look like X. He told me that he's not X, and asked why I thought he was. I told him he only looked like X at a glance to me, and that maybe it was the brown eyes, but even those did not look very similar to X's. His eyes looked more angry than X's, and he had higher standing hair than X, and he was fatter than X and had lighter skin. He is fatter than skinny, X. Fatter than X. He is fat, and X is skinny. That was the end of the dream. Last month my mom said that the cops told her that Drew is a drug dealer. It is interesting that Jason told me that Dennis is a drug dealer, but did not tell me that Drew is a drug dealer. The police know about Dennis being a drug dealer too. The possibilities that I can think of for why Jason told me that Dennis is a drug dealer but didn't tell me that Drew is a drug dealer are that either Jason likes Drew but dislikes Dennis, and therefore he was more willing to say bad things about Dennis than he is about Drew, or possibly he knew that Dennis is a drug dealer but didn't know that Drew is a drug dealer. My mom asked why I think the only friend Jason is a drug dealer. I don't think Drew is Jason's only friend. I don't even think he's Jason's only friend in Pittsburgh, but he is the only person who lives in Pittsburgh who has hung out with Jason this past year besides me. I think they met because of Jason's interest in Metamesh, though, and they get along well. And Ron has tried to hang out with Jason this past year. It just didn't work out. And Ron doesn't do drugs, if what he said is true, so I assume he doesn't deal them. It is interesting that Ron thought Jason makes puns over most everything only around him. I informed him that could not be farther from true, and he does that around complete strangers. I just watched the episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog with the Goose God. The Goose God honked twice to express his love for Muriel, and at the end of the episode he did the same for Eustace's truck. That episode reminds me of how I used to squeeze Jason's nose twice and say honk honk. July 20th, 2014. I saw on Facebook that if you fold a piece of paper 103 times, it will be as thick as the universe, but the record for how many times anyone folded one is only 12. And if you fold it 42 times, it will be thick enough to reach the moon. I was only able to fold a paper from this notebook 6 times. July 21st, 2014. This morning I had a dream that Sally and I were at a store. I saw a Pooh Bear cookbook and said to Sally that we should get it for Richard. We looked through it and it didn't teach you how to cook anything. It only briefly described foods that Pooh Bear likes. We met up with some people. It was 2 parents with a son and a daughter. The daughter told the mom that she never has any patience to let her and her brother do what they want to do. She said they want to try to get something to touch a shooting star, but they won't let them. The parents decided to let their kids try to do that. There was a really slow-moving shooting star in the sky. The kids used the control mechanism to move some object up a string and attempt to touch the shooting star with it. The daughter failed, but the son succeeded. In the morning, the mother talked to the gingerbread kid. I think the gingerbread kid is just the Ginger's having Soul's kid, but younger. She told the gingerbread kid that she wanted him to meet her son, the shooting star kid, and she introduced them to each other. The end. July 24th, 2014. Woo! I had a fun dream last night. At first, I was at some people's house. Then they asked if I liked turkey and tuna sandwiches. I told them that I don't like tuna. Then I corrected myself, saying I don't like canned tuna. The sandwiches they were having had turkey, cheese, and tuna salad in them. The tuna salad contained pickles. After I left their house, I went to a playground with Aunt Lorraine. I played on the playgrounds. I was the only one on it. There were about 4 slides right next to each other. They went back and forth between pointing one direction and pointing the other direction. I climbed between the slides, then realized that one slide was pointed upwards. I laid down on that one, leaned over, called Aunt Lorraine, and told her that I'm sliding. After that, I got some speech cards and pictures and went to my speech class. I couldn't remember what I was planning on speaking about, though. While the other students were speaking, I was looking at a picture I had planned to show the class. When I got up to the podium after my name was called, I realized the extreme amount of note cards I made. I couldn't remember what was on any of them at all. I spent several minutes in front of the class silently looking through my note cards. It seemed like all of them had notes about something completely different, since I could not possibly speak about the subject matter on the note cards in an extemporaneous and organized fashion. I told Miss Leafhite that I did not practice my speech enough and asked if I could give my speech on another day. She said yes. The note cards did not seem like they had anything in common. After this ordeal, a woman asked if I would like to be a waitress at the restaurant she works at. Aunt Lorraine was there. She said I can't do it because I've waitressed two times before. I wasn't sure what she meant by that. I thought of when I was in that summer place where maybe once a week I had to ask all the kids if they wanted a crunchy snack or a chewy snack and write down what they want and give it to them. But I knew that wasn't what she was talking about because I did that more than twice. The end. I want to be King Ramses from Courage, the Cowardly Dog, for Halloween. That would be so fun. I want to talk to Colleen, Raymond, and Eric about their experiences with Jason. I also want to talk to Jason about why they say what they say. I want to finish Portal 2 and Little Inferno. I want to see different people's skin under a microscope. I want to learn how to make a microscope. It is bad that Jason sexually harassed Colleen. Whether or not Colleen has stuff of Jason's is something I will probably never know. It is disturbing that Colleen says she has never had anything that had ever belonged to Jason, while Jason says Colleen won't give things back to him, even rejecting she has them. Jason said that Colleen's mom said that Colleen had been in an abusive relationship and her psychology was impacted from it. A couple years ago, Jason contacted Colleen asking if she wanted him to be closer to her by moving to Pittsburgh. From what I read on Blogger, I assume Colleen said no. Jason moved to Pittsburgh anyways. He went to CCAC Allegheny campus, hoping that he would motivate Colleen to come and that she would go to the same campus he is. She did not go to the same campus as him, but he wrote about the experience of what he decided to do when Colleen moved to Pittsburgh in an English paper he wrote, and later in the Allegheny campus newspaper. There is a reason that Colleen did not go to the same campus as Jason, but there is also a reason that she invited him trick-or-treating that year. Although Jason did not tell me that Colleen hated him until my birthday the next year, So at the earliest, that was when she started to hate him. He asked me if he should email her to apologize or write a song. He also said that he had done whatever he has done before and apologized, but he said he didn't know what he did to make her mad. Stereotypical woman, I thought, but although even this year, Jason said he doesn't know what he did to make her mad, after reading the comments she made on Jason's blogs, I believe she made it clear to him why she is mad at him. Perhaps his ideas of what counts as flirting and her ideas of what counts as flirting differ. In senior year, there was a girl in my grade who got voted as most flirty. She said that she is not flirty and people mistake friendliness for flirtiness. The only time I had lied to Jason about something serious was the day after he told me about Colleen hating him on my birthday. I was in anime video games club working on algebra. Jason walked in and sat down next to me. He asked me how I was. I said stressed. He asked me what was making me stressed. At first, I lied by saying I don't know. Then I decided to tell him the truth that he is stressing me out. I expected him to ask what he did to stress me out, but he just laughed and left. He came back a while later to ask if I'd like to have dinner with him and his mom, but I wanted to eat at home. It also stressed me out that he said he does not appreciate the culture of John McClure that he is dealing with the night before. July 25th, 2014. Last night I dreamed that I was walking home from somewhere with Steve. I forget where. We passed by Jason's house just as he was walking outside to get his mail. For some reason, his mailbox was at the side of his neighbor's house. He had his face turned away from us. I think he knew we were there and tried not to look at us. His hair was dyed black. When I got home, I wrote on a roll-down journal on the wall that now I know that Jason still lives in his old house. The end. Jason has been trying to get new roommates for a few months now. He hasn't found anyone and who wants to be roommates with him, though. Oh, he hasn't found anyone who wants to be roommates with him, though. He responded to a lot of ads of people who need roommates, but a lot of the people who made the ads didn't respond to him. Jason thought they were fake ads. I told this to my mom, and she said he didn't get a response from them because they can tell he is psycho. When Jason first sent me 200 messages one night, I asked him if he ever sent that many messages to anyone else, and he said he has sent that many to Amanda, Colleen, and his mom. Once I told him to try to limit the messages to 20 at a time. He slowly made his way down to that, but eventually got back up to about 200 at a time. And that's been about the norm for the past year. It is beautiful in the video for Enter the Ninja by D. Antwoord when Ninja says, "Fuck, this is like the coolest song I've ever heard in my whole life. Fuck all of you who said I wouldn't make it. You said I was a loser. They said I was a no one. They said I was a fucking psycho. Well, look at me now, all up in the interweb, worldwide, 2009, Futurista, Enter the Ninja, Yo Lands, Fusa, DJ Hightech, D-Funkin' Antwoord. I'm a ninja. I believe that Jason can accomplish many beautiful things. I think it would be awesome if he would take as much time as he needs to find a natural remedy to his disorder and write about it, then do amazing things with computers. And have an anti-GMO restaurant. My parents say he will never get help. I think if he doesn't feel comfortable taking pills, he should be allowed to not take pills. July 26, 2014. Today I watched a couple videos of a woman named Glenn Olson who used to work for a pharmaceutical company speak out against pharmaceutical companies. This is definitely a serious concern that many people have, the corruption of pharmaceutical companies. Jason might be right in not taking man-made medicine. Although Aunt Lorraine works for Allegheny General Hospital and she says only a few people who she prescribes pills to actually get the side effects known to happen from those pills. I'm glad I watched all the episodes of Courage the Cowardly Dog that are on YouTube. The episode The Mask reminded me of D. Antwoord's video Pitbull Terrier. The episode Cabaret Courage reminds me of D. Antwoord's song Fatty Boom Boom. I found out from paying attention to a mural in Babies on Fire that Yolandi's last name is Vesser, not Fusa. I misheard. A lot of the reason that I am upset that I am no longer allowed to see Jason is that my mom said some things about how Jason treats me that are untrue. She says that he contradicts everything I say. Of course, that is an exaggeration, although he does contradict a lot of things I say. She says he uses so many words that I can't argue with him. That is untrue. He does have a different vocabulary than me, and sometimes his grammar is hard to understand. But if he says a word I don't know and I ask what it means, he usually sends me a link of the definition. He does sometimes just give up trying to communicate certain thoughts when his grammar gets too hard for me to understand. My mom also said that Jason says, "Oh, you're so stupid, Sapphire." That is completely the opposite of true. He has never used the word stupid to describe me. I, on the other hand, have told him that he's stupid. I remember my mom calling me a retarded when I was a little kid. I don't remember why though. Jason had called me smart many times. He even called me brilliant at least once. Although my mom had also called me smart before, I had also called Jason smart before. My mom says that Jason tries to sound smart when he isn't. August 3rd, 2014. It is Sunday evening. This past Tuesday night, I had a dream in which I had a picture of Ron and me in the tutoring room in the Cougars Den on Facebook. The description of the picture said, 223, 223, do some shit, do it some more, 223. He made that song up in real life when he was helping me study chemistry. After I looked at that picture, I checked my email. I had about 5 messages from Jason. One of them said that it looked like I had fun with Ron in that picture. Another message was a link to a game in which the character is on the beach. I only got those 2 messages read before I went outside and saw Jason in the yard. I was at my aunt's farm, but my aunts weren't there at the moment. I invited him in and told him that I was there alone for now. For some reason, we went into Aunt Lorraine's room. Jason asked if he could squish my legs. In my dream, I was worried that if he did that, I wouldn't be able to breathe, and I told him so. In real life, when he did that, I was able to breathe just as well as I can when he doesn't. He told me he wants to see if I can, and he squished my legs. I was able to breathe and was so happy to be with him. After a while, my aunt Lorraine came into the trailer. Jason came into the kitchen with me to see her. I thought Aunt Lorraine was going to scream at me for letting him in the trailer, but she just said hi to us both and made us dinner. She asked what I want out of the food she made, and I told her I want green beans and cheese balls. She served those foods to me. Even though she didn't yell, she seemed mad the entire time since she got home. The end. I'm annoyed. How many more people are my family going to force me to never see again? At least this past week was fun. I went to an amusement park I've never been to, Wild Adventures. I went ziplining, but most of it was obstacles. I was terrified the whole time. I got too scared to zipline from one tree to the other, so I did the obstacles. I did the zipline from the tree to the ground, though, which is lower. Other people must be afraid to zipline from one tree to the other, too, since those were the only parts where there was more than one choice of which way to go. I don't know why I was afraid to zipline from one tree to another at 25 feet in the air when I'm not afraid to be in an airplane that's thousands of feet in the air. Perhaps it's because I feel more balanced in the airplane, whereas on the zipline course I had to have good balance, which I had really good balance considering that I was shaking on boards held up by wire and didn't fall off. August 6, 2014. I was scrolling through the homepage of Facebook and found a link to 20 inspirational quotes by infamous people. One of them is that peace secured by slavish submission is not peace, and it's by Kim Il-sung. I can very much relate to that quote right now because I am slavishly submitting to my family's desire for me to not contact Jason. I will only ever contact him again if I learn that I can maintain a job. I only don't have a job and have not tried to get a job yet because my mom wanted me to go to college to make it easier for me to get a job, and she fought for me to be on Social Security while I am in college. Jason has told me numerous times that I should do things per my own interests and not per the interests of others. I admire him for saying that. My family thinks very, very differently, though. I can't wait until I get the opportunity to move far away from these tyrants. I just got that song by NoFX that goes, "Blasphemy, blasphemy you," in my head, and that seems like something Jason would say. I remember watching a video once in which it said that it is deception when teachers say that everything orbits the sun and the sun is moving in a straightish path while the planets circle around it. I think it asked where the sun is going. The book Fact Fact Bullshit went into the detail of how the sun moves. It says our planet orbits the sun, and the sun orbits the center of the Milky Way. While it takes the Earth roughly 365 days to orbit the sun, it takes the sun roughly 250 million years to complete its orbit. The sun is traveling at roughly 230 miles per second, fast enough to travel from New York City to LA in 11 seconds. The sun is actually traveling through the local interstellar cloud, which is in fact a local bubble zone, which is in the Orion arm, which is in the Milky Way, which is in the local group, which is in the Virgo supercluster, which is only one of millions of superclusters in the observable universe. I want to try to find the video that is similar to those paragraphs now. So the videos I saw about half a year ago are called The Earth Does Not Revolve Around the Sun. The first video says that the planets move independently of the sun. The videos are by Munhausen74. There are other channels that also say that the planets move in a spiral. I really like the music in these videos of Munhausen74. Also, I found more videos of Courage the Cowardly Dog on YouTube, ones in which there weren't huge backgrounds making the show part smaller. August 7th, 2014. The best way to get revenge on my family for them not allowing me to contact Jason anymore would probably be to not affiliate with them any longer once I can maintain a job or some other source of decent income, if that ever happens. If it does, I shall stop contacting my family for at least a decade. That way they will know how it feels, maybe. Maybe they wouldn't care. I think they would, though. It sucks that they don't love me enough to consider how I feel about never contacting him again, though. It really was perfect revenge for someone to make hundreds of fake Craigslist ads for Jason to deal with because he blows up others' phones so often. It is strange to me that Jason said he didn't like a girl he never talked to but saw at the grocery store because she bought unhealthy foods, but he affiliated with a drug dealer. I don't know which drugs Drew was dealing. If it is marijuana that he was dealing, then it isn't strange at all, but if he sold drugs like heroin, then it is quite strange that Jason affiliates with him. August 10, 2014. I learned something awesome a couple days ago. I learned that Ducky had been hanging out with Jason. He told me on August 8th that he had been... On August 9th, we had our butterfly picnic. Ducky told me that Jason made friends who he plays bike polo with. That is good. He told me that he took Jason into the woods and threatened to stab him with a knife, and that Jason was shaking after he threatened that. That definitely sounds like an extremely realistic scenario between those two, given their personalities. He told me that he told Jason that there is a way to fix the ban I have from contacting him. He said he told him he can fix it by getting a job, contacting my mom in January or February, not bringing up the past, and not contacting me. I don't know if that would actually work, and I don't know if Jason will ever find out a natural way to get rid of his sensations or feel slightly comfortable to get a job with his sensations. I highly doubt he will ever try pills to get rid of his sensations or creams. Ducky said he forced Jason to show him all the notes and recordings he takes about his life, and he broke his camera so he wouldn't record him. And he told Jason about how if he contacts me, my parents will take away all of my communication devices. I asked Ducky if he thinks it's wrong that Jason won't try his pills, and he didn't say yes or no, but he said Jason's a little bitch and any normal person could deal with what Jason is going through. I can understand why he would say that because he is always in a lot of pain and has a full-time job. Jason gets crawling sensations off and on every day, and he has no job or classes. I go through severe pain most of 2 days of every month because of my period, and I usually feel like they're just unbearable, and any work I have on those days is avoided, and I greatly prefer to not leave my bed on those days. I sometimes skip class in the first 2 days of my period because of how bad the pain is. And sometimes when I don't, I am kicking during class, and once I was saying fuck under my breath during most of my pre-calculus class because I was in so much pain. Ducky told me something that I find to be very exciting. In 2015, there are supposed to be new episodes of Courage the Cowardly Dog coming to Cartoon Network. He also told me that soon the drinking age might be raised to 24. Boo, I'll have to wait longer until it's legal for me to do what I already sometimes do. I'm gonna watch the new Rucka videos he told me about now and write down more of my thoughts tomorrow. August 25th, 2014. I know it is not tomorrow, but this past Thursday night I heard a song. It is It is Monday morning now. The song I heard went like, "Make me a camel worth your time, make me a bullet worth your crime." I heard the song from my brain. I didn't make it up. It just came to me while I was laying down trying to get to sleep. It was sung in boy band voices. The voices in the tune sounded familiar, but the lyrics did not. But those lyrics are still amazing. I would like to analyze those lyrics and make more parts to the song. Later that night, when I was asleep and part of my dream, I was playing a song that was on my iPod. I don't know if this song actually exists, but it was by Gwen Stefani, and in the song she mentioned Michael Jackson. Last night I dreamed that Jason saw me and I brought him into my room. After a while I was worried that my mom would call the cops on him and that she would find out I brought him inside, which she would do in real life. My mom is such a liar. She told Jason's mom that he's been sneaking into our house. He has never snuck into our house. Jason is also a liar. I saw a blog he wrote saying he didn't push me on the day my mom accused him of compromising my computer. He did push me. Maybe neither of them should be trusted. I lie sometimes too, though. I've lied to my mom before, but I don't think I've ever lied to Jason except to surprise him on what his birthday present is going to be. My mom lied to a psychologist to make it more likely for me to stay on SSI, which she fought with them for me to stay on while I was in college. Before I was 18, I was on SSI with no questions because I was diagnosed with high-functioning autism when I was 4. Last entry was dated August 25th, 2014, and I received this the day after, on August 26th, 2014. I know this because the last entry was written just the day before it was given to me. I remember that. It's all entirely perspective from Sapphire Welka, and most of it is true. A lot of it is true, fairly accurate. Of course, it's her opinion, her feelings, and definitely they conflict with the situation. So she gave this to me several months after pretty much she had stopped contacting me, which was very abrupt because prior to that day, June 13, 2014, I was pretty active. She was fairly active, and I was fairly active in communicating with each other. My butt hurts. And affiliated together, spent time together and stuff. But ever since that day, it abruptly stopped. She disappeared, and I noticed some very strange activity. Basically, she just disappeared, and at a time that she wasn't at home or wasn't available to access internet, I noticed some activities occur with her internet accounts that I was confident was not her doing it, and eventually I realized that it was her mother who was doing it, and that since that time, for the last 715 plus days, Sapphire has been significantly compromised and threatened and hacked and exploited and socially engineered and gaslighted and manipulated and threatened and coerced and intimidated and so many other things, not by herself but by her mother and others, and plausibly her aunts, and various others that enable, support, and condone the bullying and the abuse. So many things by so many people suggesting history of abuse and why it happens and how it exists and why people are susceptible to abuse and why they are okay with it and don't really stand up against abuse or bullying and just let things happen, and maybe even find value in submitting to their abusers. I've learned about systemic corruption. It's very widespread, very it's there's a lot of it. So, familial corruption. I've also improved myself, and maybe I'm still not as wonderful and beautiful as you or other people that showcase various patterns of behavior that is so much more socially attractive and appealing and exciting and so many other things. But I don't need to be afraid. I don't need to have low self-esteem. I don't need to have lack of confidence. I don't need to be embarrassed or ashamed. I've gone through these things throughout most of my life. I've been bullied significantly, both mentally and physically, and very significantly as I was young. And I'm glad that I'm not being physically bullied at this time, but still mentally and cognitively and sociologically and I said cognitively, just brainwashing other people and being delusional and asserting others are delusional themselves. For example, Sapphire's mother has done some various nasty things, some significantly nasty, hostile, hate-mongering, fear-mongering, cruel, abusive things. And she will likely continue to do so based on the nature of lying to cover up lies, pathological lying. And her aunts are fairly disrespectful, just as well, by their role in enabling and condoning the ignorance and neglect. And does anyone deserve it? Maybe I'm not good enough. At first I was confused as to why Sapphire was giving the impression that she's not good enough, when really it was perhaps to projecting the nature of people projecting upon others things that represent themselves. So for example, Sapphire saying that she's not good enough is perhaps representative of my not being good enough. My nose. Anyway, thought I'd read this journal, make a recording of it, and I did, and I'm gonna go take a break and blow my nose. Take care.